Right, here we go. What a game. That was crazy, crazy game over at the Principality Stadium. Let's have your comments, things that you want to talk about. Let's have them down below. What are you drinking? I'm on the Nishisco today. Where did you watch from? Got a few comments coming in already. Tense, that wasn't it? Wasn't that tense? Okay, let's get some of these comments up. Mr. Evil Badger, good to see you. That was more like it from Wales. Where has that been for the last 12 months? Yeah, 12 months at least, I would say. Sometimes you just need a new energy. Sometimes you just need a new voice and a bit of belief. And yeah, I mean, there's never been any doubt about the Welsh spirit, that's for sure. But they just had a little bit of detail today. They looked like they believed in what they were doing. And that certainly hasn't been the case this championship, at least. Okay, let's get into this game. And Wales started quite nicely, I thought. They had some good attacking shape. And back when I was coaching, a more experienced coach than me said, just get your players to run at holes, to run at space. And if they run at hole and they run at a hole well, they'll either get the ball that they won't, or they'll go through a hole or they won't. And it looked like Wales were doing that today. It looked like they had a lot of energy about every single line they ran. So it was convincing. And that was holding Irish defenders. And the Welsh actually got some joy on the wide outside. Not all the way, but they found some space out there and made yards in the wide channels. And that all came from really good running lines through the midfield. But they did get turned over at a wide ruck very early on, and Gary Ringrose hit a banging 50-22. Not the first one not the last one that the Irish would have on the day either. That gave Ireland platform deep in Wales 22, and what we've seen a lot of: bang, carry, and even if they got knocked back a little bit, they went again. McCarthy got a big carry. I think he got outside both. Who was it? It was the tight head and the Rowlands, and the tight head whose name is escaping me at the moment. Yeah, no, it's not going to come. Yeah, he got outside then, and Conan then powered over through Thomas Williams. Really powerful try from Jack Conan. Thomas just got that badly wrong. The ball was bobbling around on the floor. It wasn't even a tackle, really. They just sort of landed up sort of square on, bolt upright. But Conan's power really showed in that moment. 7-0 after 6 minutes. And it looked ominous, really, at that point, because Wales had tried, but as soon as Ireland got the ball, they just scored. And that was worrying, I think, for me as a neutral in this game, that Ireland might just have far too much overall. But what kept Wales in the game, particularly during this first 20 minutes when not everything was going right for them, was the scrum, and they were getting scrum penalties. Now, what I'd say, actually, I'll talk about the scrum penalties at half time, because there were a few, I think 4 in the first half to Wales. Prendergast was kicking well at this point. He was putting in some nice chips, cross-field accuracy as well, putting Irish players way down the wings. And Ireland were playing multi-phase, as we're used to seeing them doing. But Wales are doing a really good job of just staying connected defensively, making sure they knew where their players were on either side of them in the line and filling the field. So although Ireland were doing a lot of good work, they were never really breaking through during this period. And Wales were absorbing a decent amount of pressure. Another scrum penalty to Wales in the 16th minute. And then quite tellingly, Nicky Smith got HIA'd off, which he looked absolutely disgusted with. And then immediately the Irish won a scrum penalty straight after, which was kicked for 10-0. And that was 20 minutes gone, 10-0. And although Wales had looked like they got a lot about them, or more about them this week for sure, it still looked ominous at that point for me. Ireland weren't hitting their straps. There were some handling errors from the Irish as well, more than 1 or 2. But it still looked ominous. It looked like as soon as Ireland click and get things right, it was all going to start flowing. Okay, let's go through a few more comments. Kevin Devan here. Ireland had a poor day at the office, but pulled it out at the end. Yeah, it was it's a lot of character, I think, shown by the Irish, because, correct, I think it was a poor day at the office for them generally. You know, assisted in that regard by a very good performance by the Welsh. But just to keep their nerve all the way through to the end, I think shows good character. Yes, Evil Badger, this is exactly what I just said. The dummy runners threatened the Lions and it made a difference. Far from perfect from Wales, but I can cope with losing if they actually try to play. Completely agree. The dummy runners looked like they were going to get the ball all the time. Certainly for the first hour. I think it slipped away towards the end when all the subs came on. Wales really lost their shape and played themselves into trouble a lot in that last 20 minutes. Just go. Okay, let's go into the second 20 minutes here of the first half. Yeah, actually, I've just mentioned it here. Plenty of Ireland handling errors. Yeah, there were a lot, and I think the one was directly from the kickoff was Captain Dan Sheehan, which I can't ever remember seeing him just drop a ball like he did then. Led to a period of Welsh pressure and an offside penalty, and Wales got on the board. So important to get back within 7 points. Just stay in touch for Wales at that point in the game. Just stay in touch on the scoreboard, whatever else happens. And Wales were getting to edges. This is what I mentioned earlier. They were doing a lot of good work through the midfield. The dummy runners were holding defenders, and they were throwing the big wide pass. I think it was the first game. Yeah, it was against France. I mentioned in the post-game review at that, they got some opportunities like that, and they never threw the pass to those wide players. And if they never threw the pass and they're just coming back in, getting funneled into where the defense is strongest. But they did that today. They had the confidence to throw those passes, and they got a bit of joy from it. Shortly after that, Thomas Williams dropped what looked like a try-scoring pass. It may well have come back for a forward pass, although actually on the replays, for me, it looked less forward. The first viewing I thought was definitely forward, but the replays maybe I thought slightly less. Of course, we'll never know because he just dropped it cold after 26 minutes, which was gutting for everybody. 29 minutes, Ireland. Oh, yeah, right. So Wales did lose a little bit of shape. Ireland were forcing Wales back, and I think I counted 4 phases in a row, like 5, 6, 7 meters for every phase, which led to a chance for Osborne. But he threw a really bad pass, actually, to Gary Ringrose, who was out wide. I think Ringrose could have helped him, though. Ringrose stayed really wide to the touchline when Osborne was under pressure to catch and pass. I think Ringrose really should have come closer to him so Osborne could just kind of flick it out and make it a lot easier. Ringrose would still have been in a very good position to score, but Osborne basically threw it into touch. That was a big chance for Ireland. And very strangely, Paul O'Connell in the coach's boxes had a good old giggle about it, which I can't imagine him as a captain would have been quite the same. Little technical thing here. The Irish wingers at first receiver from almost every single set play, from like lineouts. I think it was mostly lineouts I'm thinking of. Both wingers as well, Lowe and Hansen, do it. And I wonder whether the pair of them essentially have just got nicer, softer hands maybe than Robbie Henshaw, because that is a role you quite often see the 12 do in many teams. So, yeah, it's always about just pick the best players for what the role is at the time. And it doesn't really matter what the shirt number is on the back. But that happened a lot. I think we saw Hansen do it at least twice and Lowe at least once, maybe a few more that I missed as well. Then the big incident of the first half, 34 minutes, Gary Ringrose comes in and whacks Ben Thomas on the head to head. It's clear yellow card, off-field review as you'll ever see. Penalty was kicked for 6-10, and it's really game on now. Like there was very little in the game at this point. The Welsh had found some joy with the ball in hand. Territory-wise, it was all pretty even. But Ireland did a great job and won the kickoff, which led to a Will Griff-John tackle off the ball. This is just 2 really soft things for Wales here. Like, catch a kickoff, don't give a dumb penalty away. That penalty hit the post, though, fortunately for the Welsh. But that led to a Prendergast knock-on. This was out the back of some shape, and whether the pass was just not quite accurate enough or whatever, I'm not sure. But anyway, it didn't go to hand. And that led to another scrum penalty for the Welsh. And the stadium, for the first time, I think, were really, really getting up now. You could hear the crowd. And it was sensing like there was a potential upset, because even though Wales had been in this game throughout, I think everybody just expected Wales to eventually crumble. But to get in this position with a yellow card that really definitely looked like it was going to turn into a red, and really good scrum dominance, and now penalty, and the kick went very deep into the corner, which led to Jack Morgan driving over through Lions. what am I trying to say here? Through the lines opposition, I guess, that someone who's going for the same Lions shirt, Josh van der Fleer, to drive over for the try, and it was 13-10 at half time, and it was all on, absolutely all on. And like nobody called it. Nobody saw that coming at all. Let's do a few more messages here. Kevin Callahan, I need a bypass. Lol. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of Irish people. I mean, I felt very nervous throughout the game as well, and I'm a neutral. Bundy turned that game for us. You know what? He did really well when he came on. He played a great game, Bundy Aki. Just added a little bit direction to the Irish midfield, some real breakdown stuff as well towards the second half. And the nose splattered all over his face, probably not for the first time in his life as well. So fair play to him. Okay, at half-time, the yellow card got upgraded to a 20-minute red. I think that was undeniable. That was always going to happen. This is my only bugbear with the current scenario here, is that yellow card review can only ever be upgraded to a 20-minute red. I'd like to see it that they go yellow card review and it can be upgraded to a full red if they deem it necessary. Because I think this one was a full red. I really do. Like, he came from a long way away. Nothing much changed. Like, yeah, I think that's the only way I'd change that law, because initially I'm in favour of the 20-minute red generally, but I think on occasions like this, it doesn't quite fit. Yeah, okay, so notes about the scrum penalties. Obviously, we were on the side as a TV viewer as Clarkson versus Nicky Smith, and I would say that both those penalties that went against Clarkson were correct, primarily because Clarkson was the first one to lose his bind. In fact, I think Nicky Smith kept his bind on both those scrums. So as a tight head, if you end up going down first, but you keep your bind, you've still got a chance. You've still got a chance of staying up. But he was the one who let go of that bind first, which created the collapse, in my opinion. Of course, all these scrum decisions are kind of 45%, 55%. They're all very close. The ones on the other side didn't get a really good look at, but to me, they look 50-50 at best. And, you know, in that case, referees are often, they get a feel for which team they think is dominant, and then that team will often get the penalty. So clearly, you know, they thought Wales were dominant at the scrum. It was all very close. It was very close. But like I said, the scrum penalties are really marginal often. You know, there's both players who could maybe have done a bit more to keep people up. Yes, Kevin. Thank you, my man. Hit the like button, folks. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Let's get more people here watching, the more as we can, before we'll clock off at some point to go and watch England, Scotland, and then I'll probably end up having a heart attack then. Okay, into the third quarter. Oh, actually, this was the one where Prendergast dropped the ball out the back of some shape. Ireland were trying to play through the middle third here, which was something they didn't do a lot of actually in the first half. Dropped the ball. Rowlands picked it up, and I think Will Rowlands actually had a really good game for Wales today. He's attracted a bit of criticism recently as being a bit anonymous, but I thought he showed up really well today. He carried the ball over, and at one point he had both the Irish halfbacks on his back, trundling down the pitch, and that led to a try by Rodgers in the corner for 18-10. And suddenly, belief or sort of hope had turned to belief. You know, this was huge. This was massive. Wales in the lead by more than a score. Like, I never thought that would happen in this game, even if Wales played absolutely out of their skins. So incredible. Ireland hit back next, though, importantly, getting back on the scoreboard. But tellingly, this Irish team that often will go for tries, hits a penalty to get themselves back within 5 points. I think the right call, but it just goes to show what an arm wrestle they got themselves into. Just goes to show what a tight game this had turned, that they really valued the scoreboard over potential pressure and tries. Again, at this point of the game, Wales were doing a really good job of getting wide. They ran their shapes beautifully, holding defenders, getting the ball out of the back and fizzing accurate passes. But Ireland were defending these Wales. Yes, Wales were making some ground in those outside channels, but quite often they'd end up down a sort of a cul-de-sac. They would under-resource the ruck, and Ireland would either counter-ruck or get in there for a turnover. And it happened then with Bundy Aki coming on shortly afterwards to replenish that 20-minute red card. McCarthy, who also had a very good game, I think, for the Irish, especially when you consider first game back, absolutely ran over Anscombe. And I think that was the end of Anscombe's game then. And it looked like he did a great job by disturbing a Welsh line out 5 metres out. But this was reversed and turned into a penalty for Wales via the TMO. Now, this is a really interesting one because officially that's not a TMO decision. Like, I don't think they have officially the remit to do that. But you see it fairly often, especially when it's a really huge moment, right? 5 metres from the line. Is this going to be a scrum to Ireland or is it going to be a penalty to Wales at this point of the game? And it's a clear error by the referee. It is a clear error. There's no doubt that he came and slapped the ball or played the arm essentially while Faletau, I think it was, who took the line out, was in the air, which you're not allowed to do. So it was a clear error. I'm 50-50 on this, whether I like it or not. I prefer less TMO in the game, but I can see the benefit of getting these massive decisions right when it is definitely an error by the referee. And, you know, referees make errors in every single game. They happen, just like the players. So it's no slight on the referee in this case. He called what he saw, but it was very obvious from the TMO, from the TV, that it was not only an incorrect decision, but it should have been a penalty to Wales. So, I don't know, it's a tough one. I still feel 50-50 about it, if truth be told. So Wales cleared their lines, but Prendergast had some dodgy moments. He had some bad moments where he got things wrong, some moments of indecision, but man, he put in some fantastic kicks. The 50-22 he hit on the 55th minute was unbelievable. There was no space to hit that in. The Welsh player was back in perfect position and he pinged it. He pinged this spiral kick from inside his own half over the head. I've no idea which Welsh player it was, but he had like 3 meters to land that ball in to get the 50-22, and he did it. It was a phenomenal 50-22. And that led to like a real key moment in the game, because on a penalty advantage, Jamison Gibson-Park kick went off the right side of his right boot. And I initially thought he's kicked that too far. That's going dead. But James Lowe is such a great athlete. He got up, batted the ball back inside to Osborne for the try, and 18 all, with the conversion being missed. And now absolutely game on. 15 players each, 18 points each. And it really could have gone either way at this point. Let's go for a few more comments while we're here. What's this one? Let's see this one. Virgin Media panel being doom and gloom. Who's that, AJ? Is that Irish? Is that Irish commentators, Irish people you're talking about? Wales put up one hell of a fight. Ireland had to dig deep. Great game. Six Nations at its best. Yes, I agree. I think I said right at the very start, this felt like a proper test match. And quite often these sort of proper test matches don't always look that pretty for periods of the game. This one was a little bit stop-start for sure at times. But the tension, the drama, that is what it's all about. I mean, I could feel it in my chest during this game. And that's what I really love about these Six Nations games. Okay, into the fourth quarter. And Wales created another good opportunity. And this one was created by, there's a lot of good sort of running and phase play. But it was Ellis Mee, who I was really impressed with today. What a sort of natural talent he looks. And he just straightened onto a ball. And this was what Wales were doing. They were sort of running around the corner with groups, running around the corner and just waiting for Irish defenders to either bite or not bite. And if they don't bite, then they need someone to straighten and go through that hole. And that's exactly what Ellis Mee did on this situation. He drew in 3 tacklers, got the offload away, excuse me, but Llewellyn dropped it. I'm not sure if he would have made it himself, but man, that was a great opportunity for Wales so soon after going behind as well. Oh, sorry, for the game being tied up. That was a big drop for Wales. I feel like the game kind of went away from them a little bit after that. They didn't really get any more breaks in the game or too much more sort of momentum or sort of ability to really influence the game after that. And we talk about the aerial game a lot because it's so vital in international rugby. And one of Ireland's better players well, certainly throughout the championship. He might be Ireland's best player this championship. He had a quieter game today, but he still did some brilliant things. And that was James Lowe. And he has really got into the habit now of when the ball's being kicked to him, catching the ball above his head. And he did that here, bounced out of the attempted tackle, and then banged a kick so long. This was a great situation for Wales. They kicked perfectly. They've got a position where they can get him under pressure, but he bounced out and put all the pressure back onto the Welsh. It was brilliant play from James Lowe. Shortly after that, Mac Hansen was held up by Blair Murray, but it was on a penalty advantage. That penalty was kicked for 21-18. Then there was another TMO review, and this was when Porter carried the ball up and kind of ran headfirst into Henry Thomas's chest. And I immediately looked at this and just went, there's nothing to be done there. Yeah, Thomas was running in, but like, what's he supposed to do? Like, just dive out the way? I don't really know. This looked like a very poor TMO call by me, and it was rightly dismissed fairly quickly by Christoph Ridley. Yeah, so moving on. That was, let's get rid of that one. And Wales was still trying to play. 69 minutes, 10 minutes to go. Wales are playing, but I don't know whether it was the subs, the pressure of the game now, whatever it was, but they lost all the shape they had earlier in the game. They looked like they were running short-handed to places where the Irish were stronger, and that led to a penalty by Bundy Aki. I think this was a straight Jacqueline turnover, and a massive, long penalty from Prendergast straight down the middle for 18-24, and that was massive. I think that was really massive at that point in the game. To kick a penalty like that was huge. And I remarked in my notes here as well, just the Irish kicking game was generally superior at this point. They were kicking longer, they were finding grass, they were just winning more of the aerial battles, and it was showing like Wales are really struggling to get out of their half. And then Prendergast kick went out on the full, just a commentator's curse kind of thing, which was a bad error. I think he got rushed, actually. Thomas Williams did a really good job of timing a run just as the pass was getting made to him. So he was under a little bit of pressure, but it was a bad mistake that from Prendergast. And that led to another massive moment in the game. And this is the Ellis Mee no try in the corner. What did you think? People, commenters, people watching, what do you think? What do you think that was? Because the on-field officials were very aware that it was incredibly close, very close, and they went with try. They saw the ball grounded. They didn't definitely see that he was in touch, so they went with on-field try. And my initial reaction was that his left elbow had hit the ground first. But then I watched another replay and I was like, no, actually, it looks almost exactly the same, like absolutely simultaneous. So therefore, you can't override it. No, and if it's simultaneous anyway, the grounding's good, I think. And then they showed the angle along the goal line, which showed that the ball actually hit short of the line first. And then kind of with his momentum, eventually got grounded over the line. But I would have said, if I had to put my house on it, I'd have said his left elbow was probably definitely in touch before the ball was then grounded on the line. What I didn't think it was a knock on, which was what the referee or the TMO gave, because like he grounded the ball, and at no point did the ball come away from his hand, and it got to the line. But for me, it was never a knock on. But who knows? Anyway, I think it was. That's about as tight a call as you're ever going to see, to be honest. Absolutely as tight a call as you're ever going to see. Were the Welsh hard done by? I don't know. I don't think so, because I think, like I said, by the time the ball was actually on the line, I think his left elbow had hit the ground. So I think I'd have given that in touch if I was a TMO myself. Jack Boyle on for a debut soon after that. Caught me having a drink on the way back in. And quite hilariously, they panned up to the Welsh coach's box, and you saw Matt Sherratt nipping back with a cup of coffee or something. He just popped out for a coffee while they were deciding whether that was a try or not, which made me laugh. Shortly after that, Jack Boyle, as I said, just on for debut, won a scrum penalty. I think it was his side, really, that got going forward the most. And Bundy's nose by this point was pouring blood all over the place. I mean, he obviously did not give a damn. He looked like he was really, really up for this game. Talk about somebody that wanted to, blast the center rotation thing out of the water and make sure that he's first name on the tee sheet for the France game in a couple of weeks. I thought he played really well. And yeah, that nose will not bother him one little bit. Shortly after that, we had Gus McCarthy, who put in a really solid tackle, very low tackle. Can't remember who the Welsh guy was, but Josh van der Fleer got in quickly, led the counter up for a penalty in 18:27. And that was the game, really. I think I've stopped making notes then, but Ireland had missed another penalty after that. Wales tried to run all the way back, but couldn't really make any progress. But fair play to them for trying to get the last score. Kevin Devan, excuse me. Aki was class. Nose is defo broken. Yeah, not for the first time in his career, I'm absolutely sure. What else we got here? Bernie OB, well done Ireland and Wales. You played a fantastic game of rugby. Completely agree. Mr. Evil Badger, it was so close. Can't complain at the no try call. I've seen ones like that given. Yeah, it was so close. So close. Like I said, I think I would have given it in touch by literally one frame of the video. I think I would have given it, but it was incredibly close. Colin Douglas agrees it was a close call, but the correct call was made. Touchdown was short of the line and he lost control of the ball. I don't agree. I don't think he did lose control of the ball. Like, he had his hand on the ball all the time until it got to the line. And that's actually all that matters. Yeah, there was never any separation between hand and ball. So, I mean, yeah, but all so close. Yeah, so much going on. I mean, just to wrap this one up, what a brilliant sort of spectacle. Like, as I said a couple of times through, it wasn't the most flow in the games at times. It was a bit messy. It was a bit stop-start. But, man, it had all the tension. It had some real magic moments. It had lots of big talking points. I love this game, and I would happily watch it again in a heartbeat. Let's hope for even more from England and Scotland coming up very shortly. We'll be doing another live after this one, after that game. So come and join me again then for some more chat around the game. We're going to be doing a big review of this one. I've got Alco on. We're going to be speaking. When are we speaking? Tomorrow morning, I think, or tonight. Maybe tonight. So we might have it this evening or tomorrow morning by the latest. Yeah, be reviewing the other two games this weekend as well. So that's one down. Enjoy your rest of your weekend, folks, and hopefully see you on another live stream later on. Cheers. Peace. Don't forget to subscribe, watch, like, all the stuff.